what recommendations would you give to traders to really force them to get more consistency into their routine? How could they instill some of these habits that long term could be beneficial for them, at least in their trading, if not, in their life itself and being healthier?
Yeah, so I would just say implementing a process that reinforces it. And by that, I mean do the same shit every day. It's like do it at the same time every day. Just get used to it. And like a big part I think is loving your schedule. Like I think this is such a huge part of it. And like I said, for me, this is why I wanted to get out of corporate initially, is like I loved the idea of my own freedom of my schedule and how I could build that. And I just didn't want to be confounded like the 9 to 5. It was like I just didn't want to do it. Even like when I made the choice to go back to the restaurant, like that was my personal choice to go work at night. So it was still in a way like creating my schedule, which was cool. So like simply having the love for your schedule and doing what you know like you need to do on a day-to-day basis. Because like trust me, there's days where like I don't want to review, I don't want to playbook. I'm like, oh, I still gotta do this. Like, but I know that it's just like if you just suck it up and do it, it starts to like build in you like the trader you want to be. And like it's only until you do something so often and then you start to see the rewards from it in terms of like how it's paying off that you realize like, oh, this is important. Like I got to keep doing this. And like for me with lifting, like that was always the thing. Is like it's just something that I did and I always did it. And then like I never thought that I would be deadlifting 700 plus pounds. I never thought I would squat 600 pounds. Like I just and that those thoughts never even crossed my mind. It was just like, oh, I go and I do the work. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm getting stronger. Okay, this is cool. Like, okay, now I'm starting to see like how this pays off of me just doing this work all the time. And then I start getting obsessed with just the work itself of just doing it because I just like it. And then like I said, as a byproduct, like I get stronger. So it's like with trading, I take that same principle and I keep reminding myself, and it like has finally showed through where it's like just get obsessed with like these processes and the work that you're supposed to do as a trader. And as a byproduct, you're like, oh shit, I'm making money. Like it's like this is how it's supposed to be, and it's cool. So yeah, I would say for that for that question, like how to instill consistency is maybe log it, like just realize how much it's actually going to help. Try it for just a week, try it for 2 weeks, try it for 3 weeks. Always start small and just see how kind of far you can go. Because there's also times where you're going to try to implement habits and stuff that maybe just they won't stick, and maybe you realize that's not for you. But then there's going to be other times where you're like, oh, this is really, really helping me. Like I have to keep doing this, that type of stuff.
Thank you. I think it's important to note that you've fallen in love with your process and you've seen that it works for you, and you fall in love with your schedule, which I think all traders out there, if they can manage to do that, I think that's definitely a plus for them in their trading, and have ripple effects into their other parts of their life. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of incorporating some sort of fitness into a trader's routine? What type of benefits can traders see if they're able to move around for a little bit every day? I know you talked a little bit about this, but I wanted to specifically carve out some time to touch upon that. And for the traders who might have physical impairments, how can they be able to reap the rewards of being able to exercise in some capacity or another?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I'm just a huge advocate of movement, right? And so that's kind of the cool thing in the powerlifting world is it might just be squat, bench, and deadlift, but I have become like a student of, I guess, like kinesiology in a way, where it's just like I'm really obsessed with mechanics and how things work because like as you get more advanced in the skill of powerlifting, it's like, squatting 600 pounds, I can't just like drop to the floor and stand up. It's like I'm thinking about like where is my pelvis, like where's my rib cage, like I'm thinking about all these little things. So I'm getting obsessed with movement. And like, regardless if you want to lift heavy or like lift at all for that matter, I just think there's some sort of movement every day someone should have. And that could just be as simple as walking. That, it's like maybe you like to swim, maybe you like to ride a bike. It's like it creates like movement is literally the key to health and longevity. And you'll see people in their 90s that move really well, and you're like, whoa, how do you move so well? And they're like, I've just never stopped moving. I walk every day, I do this. And that is always something that's fascinated me because I'm like I've taken these notes throughout my life. I'm like the more people move, the healthier and longer they live, and just like the better they feel mentally. And then on the opposite side of the coin, you see people that are like in their maybe their 40s or 50s where like they're stiff and they like can't even like bend over to pick something up. And they're like, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, I haven't been to the gym or haven't walked or exercised in, a decade or something like that." And for me, like that is ultimately, it was just like a big thing where I saw, I was like, okay, movement is so, so, so important. And also, I think some sort of movement in general just adds a sense of accomplishment to your day. And that sense of an accomplishment is like, it's something where it creates you feeling good. Like I've never left the gym going like I'm pissed I went to work out. Like it's never ever. It's like I don't think anyone is ever like I regretted like going on a run or I regretted like they don't. So I would say it's like movement is so important. Figure out some sort of movement that you like. And it's like if you don't like to move at all, I don't know, get up and get walking. It's like find something. There has to be something that interests you in terms of movement. And so do that every single day. It just helps clear your mind. It helps a lot. For people that are impaired, I would say, like let's say someone's in a wheelchair, for example, um, they still can move other parts of their body. They still could potentially like lift weights like upper. Um, it's like I think the question of like if someone is like fully, fully physically handicapped, that's kind of like a deeper thought question. Actually, I couldn't really answer. But I just think some sort of movement just creates so much benefit to clarity, thinking, process, everything in your day.